I think there was a little bit of like an opacity issue with the. Oh god damn it! Everybody, welcome back to Best of 5. Oh man, it has been a hot minute since I've been here, so I'm really happy to have you guys back. I'm really happy to be back. First of all, before we do anything, we gotta thank all the subscribers. First of all, Sight Gaming, good buddy of mine here in Texas. Thank you so much for the sub. And as Steve Ace King Offsuit Jurek would say, the patron saint of Best of 5, Die by Sword. Die by Sword, thank you for being subscribed for 82 months. I think that's genuinely the longest you can be subscribed. So I appreciate you so much. I'm so happy you guys are here. I'm happy to be back. Man, life has changed a lot since I was here last. So post Evo, things started getting a little crazy. I had to help my partner with surgery recovery due to like a small scary incident, but everything's fine. So I had to take some time away and like really focus on that. I also got myself a part-time job so I could pay rent because this economy sure ain't going great. So I now work, which means we have a couple of updates here for what's going to be what Best of 5 is going to look like in the future. As of right now, this show, the podcast, the talk show on Tuesday stays. We're here every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. We're not changing that. But for those of you day stream enjoyers, unfortunately, due to that new part-time job, we are going to have to move the day streams. We usually start around noon. We usually start around noon. Sorry, for those of you listening to the audio version, my lights just started going crazy for no reason. But for those of you day stream enjoyers, we usually start around noon. That's going to have to change. We're probably going to start closer to 3 p.m. and then we'll stream the rest of the day. But anyway, as far as release schedule, I'm hoping that I have enough time to edit the episode so I could still get these to you guys by Thursday morning or Wednesday. I have to get used to the new schedule and the new stuff, so I unfortunately don't have a concrete answer for right now. But yeah, there's gonna be a couple changes because you know life is changing. But them's the breaks, right? This show has gone through a lot of changes these past couple years, so we'll just keep on changing and keep on trucking. All right, so we got a couple of things to talk about aside from real life BS that I just shared. So we have a couple of things to talk about. First of all, our co-host, Automatic, unfortunately couldn't be here today because, as Die by Sword so delicately put it, he's training anime girls to play Street Fighter 6 in the Say Jam Slam. He's one of the coaches for the Say Jam Slam. I got to talk with him a little bit today about what that process has been like, and look, it's really nice to see him be so excited about what he's doing, right? So for those of you that don't know, Say Jam Slam for Street Fighter 6 got announced, and there are a couple of teams. I'm not going to highlight all the teams. If you really want to go see who the teams are, you can go to Say Jam's Twitter account. You know, you can just go to Say Jam's Twitter account, and and it'll be up there. But what I am going to highlight is Team Automatic. Team Automatic consists of the coach, the Lord, the world's strongest laboratory. What's it called? What's the owner? The owner of the world's strongest laboratory and the boomer maneuver master himself. Automatic is coaching All Sham No Wow, Roy Chiaro, and Serotina, who are both VTubers, and Catlink. And this will be starting, if I'm not mistaken, tomorrow, live on Say Jam's channel, twitch.tv/Say Jam, which is very, very exciting. I don't know if you guys saw, but there is also like some in-game stickers in Street Fighter 6 for the Say Jam Slam, which is really, really exciting. So congrats to Say Jam, and congrats to everybody working on the Say Jam Slam. This is really, really exciting. And the finals take place at TwitchCon. So this is really, really exciting, man. This is really cool stuff. So we got Automatic is one of the coaches. I sat down with Automatic. Now, chat, here's the thing. I could play the entire interview with me in automatic, or I can play a snippet of it. So what I decided to do is we're gonna play a snippet of the interview. I'm not gonna do the entire interview here today because it is a 20-minute interview, and I already started late, and we have another guest joining us a little bit later. So, Casa Bunch, how did you not follow me before? I met Bunch at Evo. When Evo happened, and Bunch is an incredibly amazing human being. And if you guys don't know who he is or what he does, please go follow that channel. They do amazing work. And they do so much for the FGC. Okay, so we got a little snippet of the automatic interview, and the full thing is going to release tomorrow, Wednesday. For those of you listening to the podcast, which comes out on Thursday, it was released yesterday. But for those of you here live with me right now on Twitch and on YouTube, it'll be releasing tomorrow at 10. I have a full interview. It was really cool, man. It was one of those interviews where I wanted to just interview him for 10 minutes, and we wound up talking for 20. We talked a lot about, the differences between approaching an event like this as a player and as a coach, especially trying to teach people who are outside of the realm of competitive fighting games, and trying to get them to not be discouraged by the hell that we all suffer through when we play fighting games. So here is, let me give you guys a little sneak peek. Man, my brain is just not with it today. But here's a little sneak peek at what this interview is going to look like. This is a 4-minute clip of one of the discussions we had earlier today. So without further ado, here is Automatic and myself chatting about the Sajam Slam. Have at it. Oh, you probably need audio, huh? Player does not mean you're being a top level player does not mean you're going to be a top level coach, right? Those are two different skill sets. So what is your advice for somebody who wants to get into coaching, or somebody who is a coach and wants to get better? Like, what are some ways that you can improve as a coach?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's just like the fighting game when you're taking notes and you're in training mode, you're figuring out what works and what doesn't. The same thing is true for talking to a person. I mean, there is a egregious aggressive backseating problem in Twitch chat when these people in the Sage Slam, the new players, their viewers are pissing them off, giving them advice, and they're giving them good advice, but terrible advice for them. It's not the right diagnosis for what their problem is. Like Tina, she was looking at Broski's video for Aki, and I'm not gonna stop her. I'm not gonna tell her don't do that, but it's not gonna help her that much. It's a good habit to look at what pro players are doing and start to digest that information. Maybe even just take a break from what you're doing, but it's not her problem. That's like mid to high level stuff, and which I think she can digest it, but she can't do it yet. So what the focus is on is being able to just start with the doing a quarter circle forward and doing a quarter circle back, because she can do it on one side, not the other. So understanding that and putting it together, and then designing drills that are tailored for your players. That's what I've been doing for I've been like, what I did for Cat was I was playing like DJ and like Jamie or whatever, and I was doing like a pro nut would do in ranked, and just block and just take the throw. Sometimes I'm gonna do a DI, and then just look for that, and then I wouldn't tell her, but I would start jumping, and she would naturally start anti-airing, and then I would without explaining it, I would show her how to react to DI while looking for the anti-air. And now I'd be like, okay, I want you to start hitting down modern down medium while I'm doing all this and see how it fits in. So it's just little like bit by bit. But when you're telling them, here's the max damage combo after DI, it's nearly a waste of time. It's nearly a waste of time.
Yeah, no, and if it makes you feel any
Here's a good
better,
damage combo after DI. Here's a decent damage you can do. There's something that you don't drop. And then start to add to it until it gets to that place.
yeah, no, and if it makes you feel any better as far as the backseating goes, like I remember during the pandemic watching Charles Leclerc, who's a Formula One driver, playing Formula One game, streaming on Twitch, and people telling him like how much fuel he needed for his car or whatever. So, so that unfortunately just happens and it sucks. But that's a really good point of like trying to have the players find their own answers to problems.
Yep.
So that's something that I'm gonna take with me for whenever.
Yeah. Also looking at their history as a gamer. So Cats, but it doesn't always line up. But the cat is a speedrunner, so she's used to like doing hikes. Dude, her reactions, we did benchmark. Her reactions are almost 10 frames like mine.
Oh shit.
She's doing modern uppercut and it's too fast. Like it's only hitting one time, so she's getting a nerfed modern uppercut. So I'm like, cat, you gotta wait for the uppercut a little bit so you can hit it twice. And it's gonna help you react to other stuff too, because you can spend more time looking, So like her reactions are out of control. And yeah.
Nice. I can't wait to see it. Any when does everything start? Is it next week or has it started already?
Tomorrow is the first round robin.
Okay, and that is going to be at Sajam's channel, twitch.tv/Sajam.
Yep.
Okay.
Tomorrow, September 6th and 8th, and then TwitchCon is the 21st.
Being Okay, am I back? Sorry, I think my my audio driver has decided to die. But anyway, that's a little bit of a snippet on what our discussion was like, and a little bit of the insight into like how he's training his players and like how his players are like really like getting on with the game. It's really, really cool, man. So that'll be out tomorrow. And yeah, there is a little bit of an audio issue. I've been having computer issues on top of everything else. So, but you know, the interview's there anyway. If it sucks because of the audio issues, then that's my fault. Then I'll try. Maybe we'll interview Automatic after he's done winning the Sajam Slam. But that's not all we're going to talk about today, because we got some really big news this past week that I'm especially excited about, and our guest is especially excited about as well. So let me go over some of that stuff right now. And I thought I had more stuff. Well, anyway, what I wanted specifically to mention is that the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 got announced, and it comes with 8 games that are just like complete bonkers, right? Like, we already had our minds blown with the Marvel vs. Capcom Collection, which is coming out next week, by the way. And now we got this Capcom Fighting Collection 2, which involves, so just a couple of games that people kind of want, like, CVS and CVS 2. And I don't know, just this one game that, like, I guess not a lot of people really care about and we haven't seen forever, or other games like Plasma Sword and Project Justice that I don't know, man. I'm just fucking around. I'm so excited for that collection. I'm so excited. I'm telling you, dude, like, Power Stone is one of my favorite. Look, what's really sad is I still have my copy of Power Stone, and for those of you listening to the audio version of it, I'm flashing it right now. The CD, not anything else. It is. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh, I guess you can see yourselves. But this CD is so scratched. And it just I'm pretty sure if I loaded it onto the Dreamcast right now, it would barely work. Because I played it so dang much. But it's so crazy, right? Like, 2 Nintendo Directs in a row. We got the Marvel Collection announced at a Nintendo Direct. Nobody saw it coming. Everybody shat their pants collectively. And then, we moved on. And then the next Nintendo Direct happened. We weren't expecting anything. But sure enough, Capcom Fighting Collection number 2 with, Capcom versus, or SNK versus Capcom, CVS 1 and 2. Along with a bunch of other games got announced, which is super duper exciting. But what I specifically wanted to touch on this week is the importance of not only having the availability of those games like Capcom versus SNK or Power Stone, but having access to these games that, like, were kind of lost to time in a way, like with, Power Stone being one of them. Power Stone was one of my favorite games. The only way I have ever seen Power Stone 2 is I think there's an arcade cab still at Arcade UFO. I think it's still there. I'm not 100% sure, but that was literally the only time I've ever seen Power Stone 2. And I have never seen it other than that. And Power Stone 2 is in there. I played the shit out of Power Stone 1. And I haven't seen it since. But here we are. And, my close friend who will be on the show, who turns out is a Plasma Sword champion, and he didn't tell me until I was looking him up on Twitter a little bit earlier. He streams, and I was watching him play Plasma Sword, and he was like, "Hey, hop on." So we just started playing, and that game is a lot of fun. most of like these older games that were on the Dreamcast are so much fun, and they unfortunately were lost to time. So the fact that we're getting the ability to play those again, and the fact that we already have communities who play these games so heavily, like I don't know if you guys saw, but BAS, the man who is like one of the best CVS2 players out there, is ecstatic, right? Like people are blowing up. No Capcom Fighting Jam. I think I actually might still have my copy of that, to be completely honest. But having all of these games is so important, and giving us the ability to play these games, I think, is so important, right? Because, you know, not only for like the historical value, but just because like those games are really fun, man. On top of that, I saw earlier today this got announced. That is really small. Let me go ahead and zoom in on this guy. Zoom. This was by way of the Street Fighter Twitter. We're excited to announce that after technical discussions with our partners at Microsoft, that we can confirm the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 will be released on Xbox One. And this, if I'm not mistaken, is like one of the first times a Capcom game, a Capcom fighting game, mind you, is being released on the Xbox. Usually it's kind of stayed on the PlayStation end of things. So it's looking like we're going to get some, for those of you Xbox users out there, you're going to get yourself some Capcom Fighting Collection 2. And if I'm not mistaken, the Marvel one as well. So more places to play is never a bad thing. And the fact that Capcom is putting so much love into giving us these games back and giving us as many ways to play them as possible is super cool. And the most exciting part of all of this is there's online for every dang game. Is Street Fighter 6 on Xbox? Oh, well, then starting with Street Fighter 6. Because before, if you guys remember, I think Sony threw a lot of money at Capcom to make Street Fighter 5. So Sony kind of took a little bit of the ownership of Capcom. Not ownership, but like Sony took like the exclusivity of Capcom there. But online rollback, ranked matches, the modern, like the modern way that we consume fighting games is now going to be available for these old games. And granted, you could say, oh, but they're already on Fightcade, and Fightcade has all of this stuff. Yeah, but not everybody knows about Fightcade, right? Like, there's a lot of people who have played these games a lot and love these games, have no idea about Fightcade. And I know that as a fact because if you guys recall, a couple weeks ago, I took S-Fan to Arcade UFO here in Austin for Street Fighter 6 Weekly. And Tommy Two-Step, who's one of the best Third Strike players in the U.S. and one of the best commentators in the U.S. For Third Strike, S-Fan and I were having a discussion. And S-Fan had no idea what Fightcade was. And Third Strike is one of his favorite games, right? So as great as Fightcade is, I feel like it's so like entrenched into our community and hasn't like really expanded outwards. So having like an official release like this is such a huge deal, just to get people like reacquainted with these games. Speaking of getting people reacquainted with these games, our guest for today is a great good friend of mine. He is the reason why I know how to play Tekken. If you ever seen me play Tekken and seen how upset I get at my own way of playing Tekken, you can blame them. This is a good friend of mine here in Austin who has saved my ass more than one time. He is apparently the Combo Breaker 2024 Plasma Sword Champion, the Defend the North 2024 Plasma Sword Champion. You can find him here on Twitch at Crow Spaceboy. He usually streams a lot of these games. I've been seeing him stream a lot more Plasma Sword and Project Justice now than I did before. But I am so honored to have my close friend here. We've done commentary together for Tekken back at DreamHack 2018 in Austin. Ladies and gents, welcome a good buddy of mine, Mr. Crow Spaceboy. Crow, how's it going?
Hello, thank you for having me.
Howdy. Give me 1 second here so I can fix audio levels. There we go. Crow, first of all, it's your fault that I play Tekken. And it's because we managed to...
Why are you going to put that on me?
Well, here's the thing. We used to work together at a call center back in like 2016, I think. Mm-hmm. And I very specifically remember days where we would work on holidays, and since they were so slow, we would bring a PlayStation into the office and hook it up to like the laggiest monitor that there was there, and we would play like Tekken Tag 2 before Tekken 7 came out.
I remember that because it may have been me. I don't remember if it was me or you, but one of us money matched one of the boomers that was there that talked a lot of trash
Oh, that
about
was
Tekken.
you. That was you. Yeah, his name was Dan. I remember him. Yeah,
I
he
guess
talked
that's
a
in
lot of
character
he
for me.
talked a lot of mess.
I just remember the money exchanging hands. That's the part I fondly remember the most.
Well, I mean, that's the most important part, isn't it? So, Crow, I'm super happy to have you on. First of all, whenever I think about like community games, right, like games off the beaten path, as it were, that aren't like that isn't like Street Fighter 6 or Tekken 8 or Guilty Gear Strive. Usually, you're the first person that comes to mind because you usually stream these very obscure games, and it's specifically anytime I do like a combo breaker mystery game tournament, I'm like, oh man, there was this really weird game that I've never seen. It was like wrestling, and you would be like, oh, that's this game. Here, let me show you some cool tech for it.
Here's a combo for it.
Yeah. So you're the first person that came to mind as soon as I saw the Capcom Fighting Game Collection, or the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 with the addition of Plasma Sword and Project Justice, both of which I've seen you stream multiple times. How do you feel about having these games being released in this collection?
It doesn't feel real. The Plasma Sword is a game that I stumbled into because Alex Alchemy was running a charity tournament for uh, Puerto Rico relief, hurricane relief, back in 2022, and I had literally never touched it in any way, and I just whenever I enter something, I just want to research it a little bit, and I if you put a game in front of me that is kind of polygonal and it has a step, I'm going to fall in love with it. And I fell in love with that game very quickly. And I just, for some reason, just very serendipitous, Run It Back Gaming, an esports organization over in Ohio, I think, they started running tournaments around the same time for Plasma Sword. And that sequence of events somehow, like a crazy set of dominoes, led from 2022 charity tournament to Combo Breaker having a tournament for this game. Meanwhile, keep in mind there was no Fightcade for this game at that first tournament. The Fightcade kind of just added Flycast around that same time, and it was just very fortunate. So all of these crazy sequence of events has now led to CFC2 being announced, and when that happened, I woke up to every single person that I've ever known sending me messages saying, "Did you know that Plasma Sword is getting a release?" And
Myself
it
included.
yeah, it just like it went from being a game that I had absolutely no idea about to now it's going to be on a console. And let me tell you, the power of an official announcement is real because the Plasma Sword Fightcade room used to be me and a Korean guy, and we would just, we would talk to each other, and that's about it because we can't play against each other. The connection's too far. And Guile Winquote put out his Plasma Sword video, and then the CFC announcement happened shortly thereafter. And now there's like 25, 30 people in there at any given time. And that was basically overnight that the
Wow.
way that change happened. And it's not like they just added the game, it's just that awareness and excitement is now brewing around it. And I think that is pretty cool.
Yeah, is the same thing kind of happening with Project Justice as well? I know I've seen you grind out Project Justice a bit as well.
So Project Justice, I have a little bit more familiarity with, and that had more of a community. I think, like a larger standing before anything involving CFC2. That being said, the Project Justice room also absolutely got a bump on Flyk from the announcement, and I do think there's a lot of very genuine excitement for both of those games, and it's really interesting because Hideaki Itsuno, the director of both of those games, probably better known for Power Stone and Devil May Cry and stuff like that as well. But he just announced that he's leaving Capcom, and there's a part of me that wonders if getting these two games out on modern consoles is something of like his last duty with the company. I don't think he's ever going to say whether that's the case or not, but it does make me wonder if that timing was intentional.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Yeah, because like he was one of those people that is like was involved with just about every game that's on this collection, right? Like he also had a hand in CVS, in the Capcom Fighting Jam or whatever it's called, and the 3D games as well. So has like with the addition of new people joining these communities for Plasma Sword and for Project Justice, like have things changed at all for these games?
Yes, I can already tell you that there are the level of plasma sword play has gone up already. There was a infinite I don't want to call it an infinite block string, although it feels very close to it. That I only thought was in the arcade version of Plasma Sword, um, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. And this Vampire Savior player by the name of Sentinel Unit just showed up one day, and within like 24 hours, started doing it to me. And I'm like, all right, well, this is in the console version too. I see. um, so like the game's in a really fascinating spot because it really didn't have anything resembling a North American tournament scene. A lot of what I think are very cool 3D fighting games that have a lot to offer just never got that chance because of the time that they were released in and the fact that, you know, up until very recently, emulation has not caught up.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in kind of this renaissance where the games that I like the most are now getting a second lease on life, and Plasma Sword is probably the biggest uh, benefactor of that on this collection.
For sure. And for people who want to pick up Plasma Sword after seeing it either for the first time or seeing it again after a long time in this new collection, what advice do you have for people who are trying to pick the game up again and or the first time?
Except that it's a 3D game, first off, because I think that I have seen so many new players just like not utilize the dash button. A dash button is a very like modern invention, right? Like I think a lot of people think about like Guilty Gear Strive adding the dash button, etc. But Plasma Sword had that stuff way back in the past on the Dreamcast, and you really like motor in that game. You can cancel with the dash button. You can sidestep in the foreground or background, and you can cancel sidestep in the backdash. And it's a technique called box dashing. You can just basically make a Z shape with this repeated input over and over again. And oftentimes, the difference between success and failure in that game is the ability to just put on a set of rocket skates and zoom around the map because there are also infinite stages in that game.
Oh, interesting.
And you really feel how powerful movement is very quickly once you start utilizing that button.
Gotcha. Um, and for the people who are like, I know you. We talked like you had mentioned that there was only like one other person that you would hang out with in Fightcade, but since you just went to these two like tournaments for Plasma Sword, was there at these tournaments was there anything that you saw that you weren't expecting to see? Like, has
Oh
there
my
been?
god. Yes. Vampire Savior players might know him a little better than me, but a guy by the name of Carl Key showed up to Combo Breaker, a player from France. And, you know, I didn't know what the French plasma sword scene was like. I barely knew what the American plasma sword scene was like. So how was I going to be prepared for French Vector to show up? And Vector is my main character as well. So it was really interesting to be able to play against someone on the opposite side of the world in person who played my character but played that character in a completely different way. And I think it's a real testament to that game that both of us were able to play the same character in just completely different ways, and that character is not S tier in any way, shape, or form. There were actually like no S tier characters in the top four of that tournament, and I think that's both a testament of how like powerfully balanced that game is, and also how much room there is for some deviant sicko to come in with a Zelkin and absolutely body us.
Oh man, I'm assuming that with this new way for people to play, that we're gonna see a lot more crazy shenanigans that we've never imagined.
The Zelkin player is already coming out of the woodwork, and that's the character that I assumed like this is the because there was one Zelkin player, Crookie Crumbles. Shout outs to Crookie. I haven't seen you on Fightcade in a little bit, but he got second at one of the Run It Back tournaments, and I had a tough time with him then. And he was doing good stuff, but he was not doing the sicko nasty like fly unfly like block string, keep you in block string for 40 seconds sort of stuff, which is really hard to do. And it's like way more technical than anything else that's in the game. Plasma Sword, I don't want to scare anyone off. Plasma Sword's a very easy game to pick up and play and just like learn one combo and run house. But if you do want to, if you're a person with the devil robot hands, there's also characters there for you as well.
Yeah, before we move on to our next question, we just got to shout out Blue. Blue has resubscribed for 70 months. Blue is, for those of you that don't know, the person behind the AFGC News Twitter, and he's also a producer here at Best of Five. He helps the show go around, so big thanks to Blue. Give him a little clappy do, will you? A little clappy do for Blue. Thank you, Blue. I hope you're doing well there. So I want to move away from Plasma Sword a little bit, and I want to talk about Project Justice.
All right.
Project Justice, I think, got a little more attention before this because of the of Street Fighter V, right? Akira was one of the guest characters in Street Fighter V, and you know they tried to implement a couple of the mechanics from Project Justice into Street Fighter V, which I thought was really neat. So you had mentioned that Project Justice already kind of had a little bit of an established community. What do you think? Do you think anything major is going to change for Project Justice now that it's coming out in this collection?
I suspect that there will. I mean, it's already happened. There's already more people in the room, in the fight room than there was before. I live next to a highway. I apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
But also, I suspect that there's going to be a lot of people that pick up CFC2 and play their favorite Capcom 3D fighting game for the first time, and it's going to be a real eye-opening experience when Kyoko hits them with a block string infinite. That game is real nasty at high level play, and it's really easy to play that game and not know what it really is because it is a degenerate game.
So I've only seen you play it. I haven't seen much of Project Justice. It's a 3D game or is it a 2D game?
It is. It I think it would be an accurate use of the term to say it's 2.5D. It does have a 3D step by hitting light kick and heavy kick together. However, the step operates on a pass-fail state. So if you've played Virtua Fighter, you know how if you get the fail step, you take like a tiny movement. But if you get the big step, if you successfully time it, you motor around the ring. It's like that, but even more at opposite ends, because if you get the failed step, you barely move. And if you get the successful step, you literally rotate like behind the opponent instantly. And because of that, I feel like between Plasma Sword and Project Justice is way more geared for 2D players. Not only because I feel like Step is kind of closer to like maybe a spot dodge in SNK games or something like that, but also because Project Justice is a game about hitting your crouching jab. Like that, if you can hit a crouching jab into a combo, you now play 90% of the cast. It's very uniform in the way learning that game is, and the differences between the characters start to not necessarily be about what they do there, like in terms of combo routes, but in terms of like how they pressure you.
Gotcha. Um, and for people who are kind of getting introduced or reintroduced to Project Justice, like, is there a place where people can go to find like some resources on how to learn the game? Actually,
Yes.
for Plasma Sword as well. I don't think I asked that for Plasma Sword.
Well, for Project Justice, that's a very easy answer because the Super Combo Wiki it has all the frame data for every character and it has combos, although not all of them are organized. If you happen to be watching this and are interested in looking up combos for your characters, the easiest way to do that is to go to the combo section, scroll all the way down to the unrecorded section, and hit the button because they just haven't been organized for a lot of characters. For Plasma Sword, like I touched on earlier, that game really it's like a new game is being released, even though it's not a new game, because the information for that game is really scattered. Everything I know about the Plasma Sword, I either labbed myself or I watched Mikado videos from the year like 2010 or what have you. So like that game's a little bit harder to find information in, but if you ask your local Plasma Sword experts, I think they will be more than happy to help you pick up the game.
And are you somebody who's excited at all about the additional stuff in this collection, like the concept art and like all the background stuff?
Absolutely. You know what's interesting? On the Capcom website, if you go to the Plasma Sword section, you can click on each character's face, and they have alternate renders for each character. And a lot of that art I've like never seen before. I didn't know that there was a second picture of Omega drawn at any point in time. I barely remember the characters of the game at all. So like, it's surprising to see like a whole new amount of Mingus art that I just like had no idea existed.
I know with this.
I'm excited. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You're excited.
I was just gonna say I'm excited to see like what all goodies they have baked into the collection.
Yeah, no, and I wanted to ask something that I've seen with this collection, uh, especially like with Marvel, the Marvel collection, and this collection has it as well. Is a lot of characters that weren't originally playable are going to be playable. Are there any characters like that in Project Justice or Plasma Sword that you're looking forward to trying out?
I don't think there's any in Project Justice that fall underneath that category. In Plasma Sword, there were two secret characters that you had to unlock via a code, Ryan and Kaede, and those characters are going to be just unlocked from the onset, which is probably for the best because I suspect Kaede is going to be a very popular character for a lot of people. She's a cute anime girl with a gigantic pink hammer and her plasma field, like if she hits you with it, it becomes a mini game of whack-a-mole. Yeah, that character is going to sell copies. I am very certain I will be running into that character a lot.
That's really funny. Um, and sadly, the one sad part about these announcements is like it's so exciting, but the game isn't coming out until 2025.
That's
Um,
brutal.
yeah.
I can't. It's going to be really tough for me in particular waiting for that.
So for the time being, for people to hold like to settle down and to hold off and to snack on something, is Fightcade currently the best place to play these games?
Unquestionably. There is, and you know, you mentioned this earlier with that there's still lots of people that don't know about the existence of the Fightcade. That's crazy because not only to me at least, because not only can you now go to Fightcade and play all of these great Dreamcast fighting games that really deserve a lot more scrutiny than I feel like they've received, such as Project Justice and Plasma Sword, but we also have a new platform now called DuckStation and Arcasia. Arcasia is a like lobby system that was made for DuckStation. DuckStation is a PlayStation 1 emulator. So if you want to, there's two games that are not on the Capcom Fighting Collection that are also made by uh, Itsuno, Star Gladiator and Rival Schools, and I know a lot of people like those games. You can play those on DuckStation with rollback netcode. And I do encourage everyone within the sound of my voice to give it a shot because I am tired of being the only American flag that shows up on that platform.
I remember you got me to play. You got me to play something on there. I think we played Cardinal Sin once. That game was
Yes, we
sick.
did.
That game was sick.
Yeah, so you were probably the second best Cardinal Sin player on the planet.
Well, you know what? I kind of cheated. Hold on. Speak one paragraph. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, if you are curious about Arcasia, you can probably find it by typing in the name. However, that's easier said than done because I believe it's a Polish word. So I am going to do everyone within the sound of my voice a favor and Google it and then just post it in chat. It sounds like Alon is back. Is that
yep.
you?
Yep. Sorry for putting you on the spot, but I wanted to make sure to show you that I still have my copy of Cardinal Sin.
You are officially a more legal Cardinal Sin owner than I am.
Dude, it's funny. Like, I grew up on, like, I've played a lot of Cardinal Sin when I was, like, just growing up. Just because, like, that was the game I had. My parents were like, oh, yeah, this game's great. There's a clown in it. It's good.
It is the only 3D fighting game that I've played where an uppercut hits low. I think that's going to remain undefeated. And if anyone else wants to experience that, pick the Lizard Man character and I think it's up and one of the attack buttons. He does this. It looks like a Shoryuken. That shit hits you in the ankles, and I don't understand how or why.
No, I think my favorite part about Cardinal Sin is just the fact that if you hit, like, you can hit fatality strings. Like, there's just strings that just do like 80% damage because, you know, it's your own, honestly, in the game itself, it's your own fault for getting hit because you can just literally, like, block it because the strings are so long.
We talk about whether or not combos will it kill, etc. But, like, in that game, a combo can actually, like, dismember you and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it really will kill you. These combos are designed to murder you.
Yeah, and it does not care how much life you have. You could have a full tank of health and still, like, if you get hit by a combo, you're just gonna get decapitated and the game's over. Sucks to suck.
When's the Cardinal Sin collection coming out?
Hopefully soon. You know what's really funny? I actually really like the art for it. It's, like, really weird.
Who made the game? I don't even know.
989 Studios is what it says in the back of the.
I don't think we're getting a 989 collection anytime soon.
Oh man, dude, I forgot. Like, I also have this on in the Power Stone box as well. But, like, I used to love getting these just because there was so much cool shit to look at in the back.
I do feel like there's something of a lost start with, like, the way manuals are made and stuff like that. I have a unique millennial fondness for the excitement of opening up a physical copy of a game and looking through a art book or a manual.
Same. And while it is kind of lost because, you know, physical games are kind of on their way out, sadly. But I think I'm really excited for this collection because we get all of the supplemental stuff. Like, we get the museum and all this other stuff, so we get to see things that we weren't originally privy to. Honestly, like, I spent way too much time in the museum of the what was it, the Capcom the Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection. Mm-hmm. Like, just looking at, like, Puzzle Fighter shit and Pocket Fighter stuff. So I have a feeling that's gonna be me again. This is
an interesting opportunity for getting, like, a behind the scenes look at Plasma Sword because, you know, the rumor has been for so long that was a scrapped, like, Star Wars fighting game. Are we gonna see any sketches that hint at anime Han Solo?
Why do you think why do you think that's a rumor? Is it just because the main character guy has a plasma sword?
I think Seth Killian said it on a podcast.
Oh.
And, you know, this is, like, tertiary, like, I heard from somebody else who heard from somebody else. And don't take my word for it. I'm part of the problem. I am repeating what I have heard.
Well, Seth Killian, if you hear this, hop on. We'll pick your brain about it.
Clear it up before CFC2 does.
Crow, I'm so happy I finally had an excuse to get you on this show. Because you're one of my favorite people ever, and I think you're a wonderful human being, so I'm really happy you're here. For people who criminally don't know you or don't know where to find you, where can they find you?
The easiest place to find me is right here on twitch.tv at Crow Spaceboy. I stream 5 days a week, and I imagine a lot of you here, specifically here for fighting games, I stream Fightcade and Duck Station every single Thursday. Please come see me in Plasma Sword and Project Justice. Outside of that, I'm on FGC.network and also on co-host underneath the same name, Crow Spaceboy.
Cool. Yeah, literally, like any like obscure fighting game you see, if you just try to explain what that looks like to Crow, he'll know.
If you show me an ink drawing, I will be able to tell you what PlayStation 1 fighting game it looks like.
Yeah, no, there was like just as an example, we talked about this before, so I know you know this, but it's just an example. Combo Breaker last year, I tied for 17th in I think I tied for 17th, or no, I did get top 16. I tied whatever 16 is in the mystery game tournament.
By the time the story's done.
Yeah, true. But there was that weird 3D game that had the gigantic rabbit. Like it was just like a rabbit that was a ball, and there was also like this one lady that had a burning knuckle.
You said it was 3D?
Yeah, and it was man, like the character select screen was super weird, and like I just remember the gigantic rabbit. I played it on stream.
Were they all like in like a room, and were they in like different parts of the room?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I know what fighting game you're talking about. I don't remember the name of it. I think that's like Saber Marionette J or something like that. I've actually never played that game, but yes, I know what game you're talking about.
See, that's right there. You give him like the most vague description, and he'll be like, "Oh, I think it's that one," and it turns out to be right.
You told me that it has a weird character select screen, and that visual is burned into my memory. Or maybe my brain has problems, and I can only remember 3D fighting games. It's one of those two things.
Although I'm still like super amazed that like I told you about this wrestling game that I played that same year, and you were like, "Oh yeah, that was the first game where you could like record combos."
Oh my god! Yes, that's a Super Nintendo game. I don't remember the name of that game. Sorry,
dude, I genuinely I hurt my hand because I mashed too hard playing that game.
Yeah, so Fightcade sickos within the sound of my voice, there is a wrestling fighting game on the SNES where you hold the L or R button, and while you hold that button, you just mash, and then you let go of the L or R button, and everything that you input while you were holding the button just comes out in like a pre-rendered combo. It is the weirdest mechanic that I've ever seen in a video game, and maybe it's not surprising that I haven't seen it in too many others, but it just goes to show you like what cool like imagination you can find buried in old video games.
Yep, and only in old video games.
Only.
No, I'm just kidding. Crow, thank you again for joining me. This has been a blast. I feel like you and I could speak the rest of the night, but I think we should cut it here. You said twitch.tv/ Crow Space Boy, and you stream 5 days a week, and Thursdays are your Plasma Sword / Project Justice days.
Fighting days.
Any final words of wisdom that you would like to leave people off with before we say good night?
Give every game a chance, because you never know what you're going to fall in love with. That you are always one video game away from finding your new favorite fighting game.
There you go. That I cannot add anything else. That was perfect. Crow, thank you so much. And I'm sure you and I will be playing some Plasma Sword sooner rather than later, yeah?
I wait to see you in Space Warrior.
Until then, goodbye, sir. All right, ladies and gents, that was Crow Space Boy. Great buddy of mine. Wonderful human being. Please go check out his Twitch. He genuinely is like one of those people that is just a wealth of knowledge for games that like you've never heard of. It's crazy. But literally as soon as I saw that Plasma Sword and Project Justice were up, like he was the first person I hit up, just because I know like he loves those games. So if you're a Plasma Sword person or a Project Justice person, please go check him out. Actually, if you're a fighting game person and you like seeing really wacky fighting games, just go check him out. He's also making his own fighting game too. Go support him. Amazing human being. Never heard of any of the games you guys mentioned? Yeah, exactly. Die by Sword, exactly. And that's what he said. It's like you're one strange game away from finding your favorite fighting game, right? So, there's a lot to be said. But but I think those words actually encapsulate just about everything. So, all right. Well, we are out of topics, and we are officially at the 7:30 mark. So, ladies and gents, this is going to be the end of this week's episode. Thank you for bearing with me while life is kind of crushed me a little bit this past month. And things are going to be a little different as I adjust to new schedules and new things. However, one thing you can count on is most likely 89% chance we'll be back here next Tuesday, and you guys can enjoy this podcast released on Thursday. If you guys would like to support the show, please consider checking us out on YouTube, on Twitch, on YouTube, Twitch. We're on TikTok as well. Everything is at Best of V Show. If you go to bestofvshow.com, you can actually just see our podcast episodes up on there, along with all of our social media things. It's all in one place. You could just go to bestofvshow.com. And yeah, I have a lot of really cool things in the works. My hope is once I'm able to get those balls rolling, we're going to have some really cool shit so that we can show off. You feel me? Automatic will hopefully be back after he's done with Say Jam Slam. But for now, we're off to say goodnight. So for everybody that was here, Die by Sword, Sight Gaming, Blue, thank you for the resubs. Casa Bunch, I don't know if you're still here, but I'm super happy you stopped by. And Casa Bunch and I are going to play some games in the future. It's going to happen. But yeah, that's going to be it for me for today. Hopefully, my plan is to be back to do a day stream tomorrow on Wednesday, starting at 3 p.m. Maybe we'll do 3:30. But please keep tabs on the Twitter. Join our Discord. You can go to discord.bestofvshow.com to join our Discord. We hang out in there. We share some stuff. Somebody recently shared like a weird like Mugen build of Guilty Gear Strive. It was really weird in the Discord. That was really cool. But anywho, all right. I've rambled on enough. Thank you everybody for joining. I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the day stream and next week for another talk show. All right. Thanks everybody. Until the next one. Goodbye.